Hi, I'm Victoria Navarra, and I am reading from my short story called By Roses. The poet By Roses began her long trek down the mountain. The wind bit through her robes, and her ribs ached with cold. She needed a new brain, she thought, new lungs, a new heart. No matter where she went, Tim Koo had been there first. This time, he had inscribed his poem on top of the tallest, coldest mountain of the Cloud Mountain Range. The silvery calligraphy shimmered against the dull gray of the mountain rock, each word luminescent in the right light, like crystal prisms. His words lived on the rock now and breathed new life and purpose into the mountain. His words remade the mountain into an exquisite, heart-soaring fixture of the range, while also suppressing the stirring volcano within. After seeing his poem, she could hardly breathe. Rage and insufficiency tasted sour in her throat. She threw her ink bottle and brushes to the ground and wept into the silence beneath the glow of the poem. When she sensed the poem reaching toward her, feeling for the chambers of her heart, she carefully gathered up her ink and brushes and tucked them back into her pack with her journals. She didn't want the poem to touch her. She didn't want the mountain to touch her. She felt insignificant compared to Tim Koo, and all she wanted was to throw herself off the mountain and be done with her miserable existence. But of course she didn't. Instead, she trudged slowly down, holding up the hem of her poet's robes so that her boots could find the way properly. She could travel to another world again, but no matter where she went, Tim Koo had been there first. A new world wouldn't solve anything. She needed to make her mark, to be first, to be something. She needed to write a poem that was so elegant and powerful that it would never need to be rewritten, not in 1,000 years. A poem that brought something important into the world, a poem that changed the world, a poem that lasted. She despaired that she would ever be able to write such a poem. She despaired that she would ever be able to write anything significant at all. She looked at the sun dipping below the mountain range, and the wild orange splashes of light left her heart still. She needed to make camp. It had taken days to reach the top of the mountain. It would take days to reach the bottom. She found a suitable campsite, removed her pack, and began setting up her shelter. It didn't take long. Bai was used to sleeping outdoors as she searched for sites for her poetry. She lit a small campfire and dined on cheese and trail bread. The firelight didn't move her, and the cheese tasted like soap. She sighed. She would never be able to write a poem in this state. She needed guidance. She needed Gabriella Perry. Sitting in the amber glow of her campfire, Bai pulled her communicator out of the thigh pocket of her utility pants and opened a link to Gabriella. Embers from her fire shot into the sky like wishes joining the stars. Bai huddled closer to the fire and waited for Gabriella's face to appear in the display. Sharon Bai. Gabriella's face was framed by crowns of trees against a star-specked sky. She was out in the field, like most working poets. Let me guess, he beat you to it. Kenzie Gabriella. Bai studied her mentor's face. She tried to compose her own face into the same calm, receptive lines. He did. He's already been everywhere, and he's already named everything. Gabriella laughed gently. Such a pessimist, Bai, but with so much drive and ambition, she said, dropping the formality of titles as she always did. I bet you'll even be on the council one day with your passion. Bai laughed, and the sound expelled the staleness from her heart. A woman on the council? She loved Gabriella's optimism. It was why she chose Gabriella as her mentor when she graduated from the Poetic Academy of Sciences and Languages. That and Gabriella was one of only 3 other women Kenzie in the entire guild. All poets who graduated the academy gained the title of Shirin. Shirin were working poets, terraforming and refining the landscape, creating harmony and sometimes beauty on the planets. But Kenzie were the elite, the poets who taught other poets, who were eligible to sit on the council, who created the rules and laws of poetry itself. Not all Shirin had a Kenzie for their guide, only those who showed the most promise, the potential to become Kenzie themselves. When the council decided it was time, Bai would accept her first student and become a Kenzie. Bai smiled, thinking back to 5 years ago when she first asked Gabriella to be her Kenzie. At 19, she had only been a Shirin for 2 years, not quite fresh out of the academy. Now she couldn't remember a time she hadn't had Gabriella Perry's wisdom to lean on. She felt like she would always rely on Gabriella and turn to her for advice. Gabriella was more than a Kenzie. She was family. This planet wouldn't even have life if it weren't for the poets, Gabriella continued. And each new poem, each new name brings forth new subtleties and beauties. Remember, the lotus grows in the mud. That's you, the lotus. Gabriella's finger on the comm screen pointed at Vi. You should be contributing to the growth and life of the planet and adding to its wisdom. Use your discontent to help you grow into the poet I know you can become. And you can keep reading this story in Parsec. I believe it's in the 3rd issue. And you can find more of my writing at www.victorianavarra.com. Thank you so much.